Good morning, YouTube. This is it. Episode 1, which is actually going to be labeled week 7 because this is week 7 of prep. So if this is where you see the first prep series episode from and you try and scroll back to find previous ones, don't bother because there aren't any. I haven't started it until now. I only thought the other day about doing it, put a poll up on Instagram and quite a few people voted on that. So I'm doing it and yeah, this is going to be just basically a really raw vlog series for my prep and a decision-making process on how to get me show ready. Currently, NPC, amateur, men's physique competitor, looking to get my IFBB Pro card this year. That's the goal, or to get as close to it as I possibly can. So, let's start the day anyway. So I'm going to start off with some food. The day starts typically for me about 7 o'clock and I'm not recording any of that because the first few hours of the day is pretty standard really. I get up in the morning, I take my growth hormone, 2 units, and then I do 250 milligrams of L-carnitine. I will then get on and do 30 minutes of cross trainer. And like I said, there's no point in recording that, right? I'll then shower and then do the majority of my client check-ins in the morning. It is now 11 o'clock, so I push my first meal back until then. And that, honestly, is one of the best ways for me to get over hunger in prep, just pushing that first meal back, drink black coffee in the morning, and it really helps. So anyone out there that's prepping, if you haven't tried that tactic, I do recommend it. I do think it's a pretty good way of, like I said, pushing those food back, because there's nothing worse, I don't know if anyone else agrees, nothing worse than going to bed hungry at night. And this way it allows me to push all those meals back so I can have one of my meals just before going to bed, and that helps out with my sleep. So meal number 1, 3 eggs, 1 wrap, and then I make a whey paste, 40 grams of whey with a banana in it. And I'll have this typically about 45 minutes to an hour before I go to the gym. I'll also take my health supplements, plus Anavar. I'll go through my health supplements another day. There's already loads to cover in episode 1. And I'll take my Anavar, which is a new addition this week. Anavar's gone in 7 weeks out. Am I 7 weeks out? No, sorry, 7 weeks into the prep. Couple of months out from show number 1. So still plenty of time yet. And I don't usually, typically myself, if I was coaching myself, I wouldn't put Anavar in quite this early. This is a little bit earlier than I would usually put it in. But like I said, it's a new coach, it's a new approach. I'm doing exactly what I'm told. This is what I say to all my clients. You know, if I had a client on the team, I'd want them to just follow the plan. Of course, asking questions is fine. This is his way of doing things. So Anavar's gone in, and I'll tell you what, it went in 5 days ago, and my training performance has been great. Like, my pumps are back, and I feel fantastic in the gym. So Anavar's probably one of my favourite PEDs. I think it's massively underrated. Although it's not nowhere near sort of like toxic to your system as other orals are, but I think the effect it gets is very good. So I do actually highly rate it. And I'm excited to see, putting it in this far out, will that lead to a better end result? I think it probably will. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. So anyway, I'm going to eat this. Finish off a couple of last check-ins, and then we're going to head to the gym. Today is pool day, and yeah, I'm really enjoying my training at the moment, to be honest. I haven't noticed any, even though I'm on week 7 of prep, I haven't noticed any strength drop-off. And I'll tell you what, training performance in a prep is massively to do with your mental fortitude and mental strength. If you go in there, because you're going to be feeling a bit weak, you're going to be feeling a bit depleted. If you go in there with a little pussy mindset, thinking, oh, I'm feeling weak today, I'm going to get weaker, you're going to get weaker. If you go in there with a mindset that you're aiming to get stronger and you want to beat your previous lifts, then you're going to at least maintain your strength, and that's going to help you hold a lot more muscle tissue going for a prep. So man the fuck up. If you're one of these guys that go in with a mindset that you're feeling weak and that you're going to be weaker today, go in with a different mindset that you're going to beat your previous lifts. That's what I want you to try and do, and I do think it does help quite a lot to just hold that training performance there. And also meal timing matters as well. Like I said, I'll try and time this so it's 45 minutes roughly before I train. It's quite a small meal, right? So it's not going to be sitting in my stomach. It's not going to make me feel sick or anything like that. But it's going to be like sort of like mental boost, thinking I've just eaten, I should have energy to train. So small little tips like that, I think, can make a prep a little bit smoother. Rather than, like I said, not thinking about that, eating a little bit too early on, and then by the time you get to train, you're just going to be really hungry, and then you could feel like your energy is dipping off a little bit. So, yeah, basically, that is it. I'm going to eat this, and then I'll see you in the car, and we'll head to the gym. So gym time. I am off to the gym. So, a lot of people will know me from being from the southwest area of the UK. So Cornwall originally, then I moved to Plymouth, and now we are in a place called Tewkesbury, which is just on the outskirts of Cheltenham. A couple of reasons why we moved here. One of the reasons was for the gym. It was actually for the gym, which some people who aren't really into bodybuilding, they think that's pretty crazy when you say that. You moved from house just for a gym. But you are a product of your environment. At the end of the day, you know, I'm a bodybuilding prep coach and a bodybuilder. I am technically a professional bodybuilder already in the PCA Federation, so I can compete for money, and you can earn pretty good money too with PCA if you're good. So you're a product of your environment. If I stayed in Cornwall, yes, I can. Of course, you can still level up. You can train in a pure gym and still level up. But if you're always looking to do the most you can, you know, get every single percentage that you can, you are a product of your environment. I do believe in that a lot. You know, if you're surrounded by IFBB pros, if you're surrounded by people that are bigger than you, it will motivate you to push yourself harder. But if you're surrounded by a lot of non-competitors, a lot of people that are new into lifting in general, is that as inspiring? Not really, not for me anyway. So that was one of the reasons. Plus, it's a fantastic gym. So it used to be called Train by JP times Shed, but the shed element is now gone. I think they had a falling out. So the shed element was James Hollingshead. I think they fell out, unfortunately, fairly recently. I don't really get involved in dramas and things like that. So I've heard rumours about what happened, but is this car going to be well? There we go. I heard rumours about what happens, but I don't know. I don't really look into that. I just go there for the gym itself, and it's a great gym. It's got great equipment. Like I said, there's a lot of bodybuilders in there, which is cool. Sorry if the audio is not the best today. I have actually got mics, which I will start using from the next episode, but or for the next episode, but I didn't have the right wires and connectors today, so I'll use them from next time. But anyway, yeah, the gym's good. And the second reason why we moved there is it's very central in the UK, so it's really easy for our clients to come and see us, and for us to go to everyone's shows. Because originally, like I said, when we were in Cornwall, if we had to get to a show, which is, for example, in York, sometimes it took 8 hours, 9 hours just to get there, and then we had to drive back again. It was just too much. So now it's a lot more central. It's very easy to get to everyone's show. So that's the reason why we moved. And yeah, we're really happy here. We only moved here 3 months ago. So yeah, it's perfect. It's about a 15-minute drive to the gym, which I like that commute because it helps me get in the zone. It allows me to shut off from work, focus on what I need to do next. And yeah, like I said, I get in the zone in this time. So I thought I'd give a little reason why I've started this series. Of course, I put it out there. There was a little bit of interest, which is a good motivator for me to do it. But it's also to give people a bit of an insight into what it potentially takes to get an IFBB Pro card. Now, for some people, actually for everyone, their journey is very different, but it does give you a little bit of an insight into what it can be like. And I want to be very transparent with the journey. So in terms of what I have to do for cardio, what I have to do for food, what I have to do, or not what I have to do, but what I am willing to do in terms of assistance in PEDs as well. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some genetic freaks out there which can get an IFBB Pro card as a natural, even in untested shows. It happened a couple of times last year with a couple of UK athletes, which I thought was absolutely awesome. Unfortunately for me, with my genetics, that was never on the cards. So for me to get to that goal, I do need assistance. You know, I have been competing for many years. Anyone watching this that doesn't know my background, I first stepped on stage in 2014, which was 11 years ago. Now I've been on and off with bodybuilding, but I have been taking it seriously. I mean, very seriously. Since 2020, since the first of the shutdowns that happened in the UK, we all know what happened there. But since then, since the release and we all got our freedom back, I didn't take the gym for granted and anymore, and I got after it. So it's been since then I have been absolutely on it, not missing a beat. 2 years of that, I went back to being natural. I was assisted in the past, went back to being natural for 2 years, and then the past 3 years I have been assisted, all in the pursuit of this goal. So yeah, that's how long it can take for some people, you know. Like I said, some people, they can get a lot quicker. Some people it's even longer. I would say my genetics are pretty mid-tier. You know, I'm not really good, I've not got great genetics, but I work hard and I'm consistent, and I think that makes up for some of those lost genetics that I don't have. Unfortunately, the only good genetics my dad passed on to me was a receding hairline and high blood pressure if my body weight gets up too high. So cheers, Dad. But yeah, you know, we do what we can, we work with what we got, and luckily for me, you know, I have been able to level up my physique through consistency. So anyway, that's enough waffling on. Today is pool day. When I have the mics, I will do it, just go through the session talking as I go. But for now, for today, because I don't have the mics, I'll probably just do a voiceover. We'll do a little bit of posing afterwards, we'll see where the physique is at, and then we'll go from there. So I will see you at the gym. Right, so voiceover. I'm going to try and do all of this in one take, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I always start off the session on cardio. And the reason for that, anyone that's trained in JP's gym knows it's fucking cold. It's cold as fuck in there. So yeah, I start off with the cardio, 15 minutes just to get warmed up and basically just to finish off my cardio for the day. That might change the more fatigued and tired out I get, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, it's actually working out really, really well for me. So then I'll move on to abs. So I actually alternate. So I'll either do abs first or I'll do calves first. It'll either be one of those two every single session that I do, because men's physique, you need like really solid set of abs, and also my calves are shit. So yeah, basically I alternate either one, like I said, at the start of every session. So today is abs. This prime ab curl is fucking fantastic. If you ever get a chance to use one of them, really, really good. I've used many different variations of an ab curl machine, but this one's absolutely bang on. Just the range of motion it allows you to get. You can manipulate the resistance profile of it, but I tend to not. I just have it like bang on in the center, and it feels good. I get a really, really nice connection with that one. I do need to do a couple of warm-up sets, because otherwise if I go straight into a working set, I'll get ab cramp straight away. So yeah, I need to do a couple of warm-up sets first. Then I do 3 sets of that, then straight over onto a hanging leg raise. They say that, you know, you can work different parts of the abs. So an ab crunch machine is quite good for working sort of like the mid-tier and upper tier region of your rectus or abdominis. And then the leg raises can work the lower, as they say. But to be honest, I just feel all of it in all of my abs. So yeah, it feels good. So I'll do 3 sets of the ab curl, and then I'll do 2 sets of the hanging leg raises here. Pretty much just short of failure. Like the burn I get is pretty intense on that. And then I'm ready to actually move on to the session itself. So for me, I start off with the big heavier lifts first. So this is going to be a barbell bent over row. I'm not the strongest guy, you'll notice from watching my my YouTube series, but I'm not the weakest. I'm kind of like mid-tier. Again, going back to my genetics, pretty mid-tier genetics to be honest. But yeah, I built up to 140 kilos on the barbell bent over row. Now the form isn't the cleanest, but honestly, I do not care. Like, I've seen the most amount of progress I've made in my back this past year from reintroducing rows like this. I used to be so on it with my execution, doing a fuck ton of those D-handle row variations, you know, from downward motion, horizontal D-handle rows, and put so much time and emphasis into that with clean form. I never really saw much results. My back was always a weakness. Previous year, I've moved over to heavy hip hinges again, heavy rows with not the cleanest form. It's not terrible, but it's not the cleanest. And I've seen the most amount of progress I've ever made. Is it a coincidence? Don't know, potentially. But right now, I'm actually leaning back more towards sort of like the old school way of lifting. That's for sure. Next, I move on to sort of like a pull down variation. This is a hammer strength one. A really nice machine, this one actually. I was doing this for a long time, single arm. But yeah, recently moved over to dual arm. And again, just get a great connection with this machine. A lot of it is lat emphasis. You'll notice when I go through my training session, just really working on the width. And like I said, I've been doing this the past year, and it has worked quite nicely. So next, I move over onto a cable low row. So this one is fairly recently been added into my exercise program, and allows me to, as I lean forward here, I really keep the load and tension going through my back, and I really feel this one actually in my erectors, so lower back. And then, of course, like you really using the lats there to pull the weight back. As soon as my biceps start to take over the movement and fatigue, I know that my set's done, but you can see here, I pretty much hit complete failure. And I get a really, really nice connection, again, within the lats, but also my erectors, so my lower back is firing within that movement. Probably because they're already pre-exhausted a little bit from the bent over rows. Then I move over onto sort of a more of a single arm movement. Really hitting the lats on this one with a prime single arm row. This is a great machine. The past 3 gyms I've been in have all had this machine. It is a really good one. Again, you can actually manipulate the resistance profile of this by putting a different plate on different pegs. But to be honest, I find these really heavy at the start of the movement anyway, even if you don't manipulate it. So if you just put it on the middle peg, I feel it really heavy at the start either way. So that's what I tend to do. And then, moved over onto a prime reversed fly here to just hit the rear delts. This is something I do on every pull session. I hit my back twice a week, and I'll hit these rear delts twice a week on each session. Again, I get a pretty damn good connection, so I only need to do 3 sets here, and I feel that does work the rear delts quite nicely. Arms looking skinny as fuck from this angle, so thank God I don't need to do any sort of pose like this on stage, because judges will tell me to get off. And then, finish off with some biceps. My arms grow really well. I'm very fortunate. That's one of a genetic strong point for me. So I only need to tag arms on at the end, 3 sets of this. And it's pretty banging, really. Cybex arm curl, good machine. I actually usually use the one sort of right behind me, but there's a kid on it, so couldn't get on that one today. But this is my second best choice. And yeah, this is pretty decent, actually. So like I said, for me, I only need to hit arms at the end of a pull session. It's absolutely fine to maintain what I've got. Don't really need to grow them much more right now, because I need to get it in proportion with the rest of me. My arms, my back and my chest still need to come up more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my session. You can see I'm pretty burnt out here. I'm pretty fried. It was a good one, good pump, especially in the arms. And now I'm ready to hit some posing. All right, so that's the session done. Another back session closer to the end goal. But yeah, let's see what we got anyway. We are, like I said, a couple of months so, and you'll see I'm in a place where I'm lean now, but I'm not shredded yet. And that's the goal, to get shredded. So as it's back day, let's see what the back's like. Ooh, feel like my back has definitely come up over the last year. It was a big weakness for me in 2023. But my back also holds a lot of fat. Compared to the front, so the front looks about 4 weeks out, but my back, I would say is about 4 months out. The coach seems to be confident that we'll be ready. He thinks we could be ready in 4 weeks. I spoke to him earlier, so yeah, we shall see. Just got to keep chipping away. But I'm happy with the shape. Just needs to get shredded now. I've got to push on through to that next level. So, like I said, another back day closer. Let's get home, eat some food. And you know what? I just realised, I just watched it back quickly and I realised none of that was in the shot. So I'll quickly do another back shot now. But I'm not going to re-record all of that because I'm hungry. So yeah, I would say my back is in proportion now with my front, which was the whole goal of taking last year off to grow. So I'm glad that it worked. Hopefully it still stays in proportion as I get leaner. Okay, sorry guys, as you can see, I could not wait for you for post-workout. I've already eaten it. But, so I'm back now, let's talk numbers. So a lot of people are interested in like what kind of foods people need to go down to on prep. Because again, everyone's very different. Like some people, I've got one guy who's getting shredded on 5,000 calories. And then I've got another guy on the team, he's an IFBB pro. He needs to go down to sort of 1,200 calories to get peeled. So it really does vary. And a lot of people say, oh, it's down to how much muscle you have. It's down to how big you are as an individual. It really isn't always the case. I do have bikini competitors that can eat more than classic physique competitors, for example. So it's just person dependent, lifestyle factors, and your genetics too. So for me right now, training days, I'm on 2,700 calories. Non-training days, 2,300, which for me, this is actually still easy mode. Towards the end of my last prep, I had to go down to 1,600 calories. Now that wasn't for very long, that was just to get the job finished. But usually I am around a sort of like 2,000 calorie mark. So I do expect that will continue to trend down, but we'll see how quickly that trends down and how often it needs to. So yeah, I'll address that each week. In terms of the PED side of things, so right now I am on 400 milligrams of testosterone a week, 600 milligrams of Masteron. Anavar, like I said, has gone in this week at 50 milligrams per day. Proviron has also been introduced, but I'm going to bring that in next week just because it's on order. So Proviron at 25 milligrams a day, and also T4 is going to go in at hormonal replacement dose from next week. And then finally, we also have HGH at 4 units a day and L-carnitine at 250 milligrams per day. So it might seem like a lot because there's quite a lot of things there, but they're all relatively low dose, right? So androgens, for example, I have in my early days run it a lot higher, but because I'm utilizing other pathways, I can tend to keep it down a little bit more. And also you'll notice that the Masteron is higher than the testosterone. We recently run my bloods, and this is a good idea for anyone to do in a prep scenario, you know, soon after you start your blast. So a couple of weeks in, 2 to 3 weeks into the blast is a good idea to do, mainly just to see what your hormone levels are doing, you know, what your hormone profile is like and how your body is responding to the androgens, because you can actually get more out of them if you manipulate in a slightly different way. So for example, when we got the bloods results back, my estrogen was quite high, my prolactin was also quite high. I knew already I'm a high aromatizer, which is why I have gynecomastia in the past. Actually, I had gynecomastia as a natural. And then when I started PEDs, it got worse. I had to have it removed. So I am one of those people that do just aromatize really easily. So we got the bloods back and the test wasn't even that high that I was putting in. And the estrogen was pretty high, and the prolactin was also quite high as a result. So that's why the DHT derivative is a little bit higher. It's why the Masteron's a little bit higher. It's why we've also put in a Proviron. I do expect as we go through the prep, the testosterone will actually come down and their DHTs will go up, just to give more of a cosmetic shift to give that harder, drier look. But that'll be later down the line. For now, we are seeming to get good results. You know, I'm only actually 2 weeks into the blast, so my physique should start responding pretty quickly, and we should start to get a lot of cosmetic changes over the next few weeks anyway. So we'll kind of just see how my body responds, and then we will go from there. But that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. So we've covered a fair bit, the androgens that I'm on, the PED stack that I'm on, the calories that I'm on, and we've also gone through a training day as well. Now, as we get closer and closer to the show, things are going to change, obviously, and then I'll go through what we're changing and the reasons why we're changing it, to give, again, people more of an insight into a prep scenario. But also for those that are self-coaching, whilst I never ever recommend anyone copies what I do, I don't recommend anyone goes assisted unless, you know, it really aligns with your goal and you understand the risks. But again, it's just more to give people a bit of an insight into what I'm doing as we go through that journey. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Next week's episode will be a little bit different because we're actually going to a team meet down in, I say it's different, I've only done one episode, but it's going to be different in the fact that we're going down to Plymouth for a team meetup. I'm also going to be training with Tamas. I'll introduce you to Tamas. He's going to be competing over the summer, going for his IFBB Pro card as well. We were originally putting him in early shows, but we do think he's got a very good chance to get his IFBB Pro card. Although we can never guarantee it, we don't know what the judges will be looking for in a day. But, you know, you can tell potential when you see it. And then we want him to actually go into a pro show as well afterwards to see how he kind of stacks up in a pro show. And there were no pro shows at the start of the year. So we've pushed his season back. Originally, I was going in the summer because I had no clients on then. Now it's flipped. So because he's going in the summer, I've decided to just compete earlier instead. So that's why I'm competing early now. He's going to compete in the summer. So I'll introduce you to him. We'll go for a training session. And then we're also going to go through a team meetup where we do these pre-season. We basically do in-person check-ins with everyone, go for a bit of a posing seminar as well. And there's a few clients that are going to be there that are going for PCA Pro cards and IFBB Pro cards as well. So it should be a good day. And we'll see you in next week's episode.